always feel that whatever it is that I've done, and if I don't get it right, if I don't get the right result or the desired result that I'm looking for, does this equate to that I'm not good enough, or, it's not good enough? Welcome to the Success Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Christian Evans. This podcast is for adults who want to achieve success in their fitness journey. And I'm going to help you do just that. But first, I need your help. I need your help to just hear me out, to help answer the question of, is this for me anymore? Because my views have changed. My views have changed about personal training, and I need your help to answer the question, is this for me anymore? We're going to get into this more, but first, a word from our sponsors.
Are you looking for a personal trainer that will focus on you to help achieve success in your fitness journey? If yes, please book your in-person or Zoom one-on-one personal training sessions with me, Christian Evans, at christiansweightsuccess.net.
Thank you for tuning in to the Success Fitness Podcast another week. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a loyal listener, but I've come to this crossroad in the road to try to figure out, where am I going from here on out? My views on personal training has changed. And just with that being said, there's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to need your help to just hear me out. I'm not really sure what the goal of this podcast is, but if you can just hear me out. So I guess that is a goal. I just want you to hear me out. There are going to be a lot of ums and maybes and just a lot of just hypotheticals and just questions, into this podcast and just this world of personal training, what I am into, currently right now. Maybe by expressing what's been on my mind will help me figure out where to go in the future. And I feel that if I don't get a chance to express this, I'm afraid that I will take this out on people who don't deserve it. So a couple of days ago, I was pulling up to the gym, getting ready to walk in to start my training session with the client. And first off, let me preface this is that this has zero to do with any of my current clients. I love you all. It is because of you that I am able to sit here, have this microphone to my face, look at my computer, and record this podcast. Because without you, without your support, and without your trust in me, I wouldn't be able to do this, right? I would be probably back on the road driving Uber or Instacart or DoorDashing like I was years ago back in 2017 when I was trying to figure all of this out. So this is not directed towards any one of you who are my current clients, but this is just something that I just gotta, get off of my chest. I'm just, trying to figure some things out. And podcasting, usually I try to spin it to encourage you and encourage others with fitness information, health information, to try to help you on your fitness journey, because it is tough. It can be tough, right? But, today I am going to make it about me. I'm going to be a little, selfish in this brief moment in time, which I am rarely, which I feel, but I need to express this because I'm afraid that if I don't, I could possibly take it out on somebody that does not deserve it. As I've gotten older, I've learned to channel my frustrations and my anger to the weights, right? Into working out or, fitness or whatever. That's how I relieve stress, right? But what happens when the weights don't do it anymore? And from the standpoint of, you want your stresses to be gone completely, but you can only run away from your problem so much, pun intended, because I did about 2.5 miles this morning. I wanted to say 3, but it's 2.8 and 2.8. 2.8. It wasn't 3. It was 2.8. So I do feel better. Today than I did when I initially wrote all of this stuff down. But like I said, I'm going to be a little selfish and maybe scattered a little bit all over the place. But these are just the thoughts I was having as I, pulled up to the gym. I was feeling just kind of down and gloomy. And, I was like, is this personal training even for me anymore. My views have just changed about it. Back in 2016, 2017, I had no desire to be a personal trainer, right? And I guess it's kind of like preaching, or clergy, where you're supposed to be called. You just don't wake up and say, hey, I want to be a preacher today. I want to be a pastor today. You literally have to be called for that by a higher power. And as I was thinking about this podcast, that's how I view myself in regards to personal training so much, is that I was called to it because I honestly didn't want to, right? I guess in today's world and social media and this visual society, is that fitness training can look like anybody can do it. And to an extent, they may be right. Now the question, should they? I guess that's for you as the potential client to decide. But I had lost weight from 2013 to 2014, my story of losing 187 pounds. And that is on my website, christiansweightsuccess.net. And starting my website was just to document my story, answer potential questions about my weight loss, because I hate repeating myself. I would just send people the link of, hey, here's my story, and provide a resource of what I did to lose the weight, whether it was my meal prep, my juice that was part of meal prepping, and my workouts. And in addition to that, my thought process of what I was going through at that time. I have evolved from writing blog posts to recording these audio podcasts from a complete time restraint, however you want to call it. And so maybe late 2015, 2016, I end up acquiring my first client. The story of Natalie and Jenny is also on my website to give you full details about that. And this is where I believe I was called, because I just didn't want to do personal training. I was asked because, hey, you've lost weight. Can you help me? No, that's not what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to be responsible for anybody else other than myself, right? I didn't want to be responsible for anybody else but myself, and just that responsibility to, I guess, have somebody else in your charge. I wasn't about that life. At that time, I spent too much time being in charge of somebody else growing up, and I just didn't want that to be, I had my own thing going on. So I ended up getting my first client. And then everything opened up after that. And I was like, okay, you know what? I can do personal training. I can be a personal trainer. So my view changed then. Now, fast forward to 2024, and that has been about 7 years. So it's from, 2017. And the reason why I keep honing in on 2017 is because that's when I officially quit my job as a cook and pursued personal training full time. That journey was a journey in itself. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about business, how to acquire clients, how to treat people, not just label them as clients, how to treat people better, how to be attentive, how to be reactive on the fly and accommodating. Because when I'm dealing with the public and people's physical bodies and trying to help them get to their goals, everybody is different, and you have to make adjustments on the fly constantly. And that was confusing. That was testing. That was daunting initially, but I started to relish in it. I started to understand that there will be times where you don't have a plan, where you won't have a plan for somebody's workout, because you're dealing with so many different people, and you know that based off of past experience is that every time you had a plan, you had to adjust. You had to scrap that one and come up with something on the fly instantaneously and make sure that people got what they paid for and for it to make sense. So with that being said, I've been so used to adjusting, on the fly. And that's kind of seems like what I've been having to do, right? But some of the downside, in that is that, in it, that has its upside and its downside. And what I've been feeling lately could be more the downside, what I've been feeling more than the upside, or have I been looking at it wrong the entire time? To be brutally honest, things are not going as well as I envisioned in the personal training world, and it's been bothering me for a few months. I don't like to come on this podcast and express the woe is me. I think that's not what you are here for, to hear me gripe and bite down on, the nasty sandwich of life, that it can give you, but it also can give you something tasty, because if it wasn't for personal training, I wouldn't be doing this right now. You wouldn't be hearing me right now. Lord knows what I would be doing. I've found a way to grind, to acquire clients and, train them and have them believe in me that I could get them to their goals. And I have. And I've done that with a lot of people. Just a few weeks ago, I was looking at my folder of clients, my past clients, and it's a lot. It's a lot. There's no shade. And I had to understand that people can stop training for various reasons. One of those reasons could possibly be me. My grandmother will have this saying, and you've heard me say it countless times, is maybe it's me. And that's helped me entertain where I could have gone wrong at. And there was a situation where I did go wrong at with one particular client. And there's a lesson learned in everything. And in that lesson, I learned to check in on my current clients at that time weekly. And that has been a weekly staple. I check in on my clients, once a week via text. And we just, do a quick little chat, whatever. And that has helped a lot. And I had to understand the personal side of the personal training. But self-evaluation has always been a part of my personality that I'm not afraid to explore. And, I can thank my grandmother for that. The saying of maybe it's me. And that's helped me mature, because I have to ask myself before I go pointing any finger at anyone else. I have to look in the mirror first to say, what is it that you did? What is it that you did not do that you could have done better? Right. So with that being said, I've evaluated myself in this matter, and the conclusion is inconclusive, which I'm trying to be careful on placing the blame on anyone else other than myself. And it's a combination of a lot of things. So, this is clearly on me as far as the reason why I'm feeling the way I feel. I believe from here on out, the problem in itself is that I'm putting everything on me. I believe that I have to, because I am the author of my life. I am the author of my future. I am the author of what has happened in my past. I take full responsibility into that, but when I don't get the results that I'm looking for, because I'm such a black and white person when it comes down to certain aspects of my life, I come to the conclusion that it's not good enough, or I'm not good enough. And this has been adding to my stress, and to always feel that whatever it is that I have done, and if I don't get it right, if I don't get the right result or the desired result that I'm looking for, does this equate to that I'm not good enough, or, it's not good enough? And once again, that answer is inconclusive, because if I don't check myself first, then I will start blaming someone else. And that is called deflection, and not accept my responsibilities for the actions that I've taken or the actions that I have not taken. But I think a lot of people, business entrepreneurs first, can feel and understand what I may be going through. And that is, the current economy. The inflation is up. People are choosing their best option of how they want to spend their money. And of course, I'm going to feel, I'm the best option as far as for what I can provide, right? But, all jokes aside, I talked to several, business owners and entrepreneurs, and you have to be nimble. You have to see what your business is doing and being able to adjust. Because if you stay in the current state and your current state is not working, you have to come to the conclusion that it's not working. You got to do something else, right? And that's kind of like how I feel with the personal training. And I had to kind of go into a different bag within my 7 years of personal training. When I got my website, started my website, it was to initially, hey, I'm going to make some money off some ads, right? Which is cool at the same time that I am giving out this information to people, right? And so same thing with YouTube, right? Create YouTube videos. And it's like, I'm going to be a YouTuber and, hundreds of millions of subscribers and get ad revenue and blah, blah, blah. And, in that, get endorsements and get money and blah, blah, blah. And same thing with the podcast, do that, get listeners and views, and what may have you, and blah, blah, blah. Sell merch and get a website, invest in that, sell shirts, hats, hoodies, coffee cups, whatever the case may be, blah, blah, blah. And none of those things have yielded enough fruit for me to not have this current feeling that I'm having. I do not like to use the word anxiety or anxious. I'm not really 100% sure why not. Maybe some of the reasons why is because I feel like you need to be medicated, or I associate medication. Let me rephrase that. I associate one being medicated or have to be medicated when it comes to anxiety, and I don't really like that. I'm not into that. And so with that being said, maybe I did have a nervous breakdown earlier this week because my head was throbbing. My blood pressure was up, literally, because I was just thinking of everything. Stuff is not connecting like it is. And it's like, maybe it's me. It's not good enough. That's honestly, this is the bottom line. Some bills have to be put on hold. Some phone calls have to be made, and deals have to be, made in regards to, hey, let me extend the, what do you want to call it? Let me extend the grace period or whatever. I'm not like that. I don't like having to do that. I like having to pay my bills on time or early, but not having enough when I feel like I'm giving all is hurtful, right? I like to try to pause because I think a lot faster, and I try to talk a lot faster than what I need to be. I need to slow down. So sometimes you may hear me talk really fast like this, and then sometimes you may hear me slow down like this just as well, because I guess I do have a lot of energy coming from somebody who was once 400 something odd pounds, always, being the big guy and things like that. And once I dropped the weight, I realized I had more energy than what I thought. And my objective is just to get the work done by any means, get it done. And even have to be careful by any means, because it could mean that it's sloppy. So with that being said, I have to make sure things are spot on, things are on point. And when I cross my T's and dot my I's, so I feel that I've crossed my T's and dot my I's in this kind of almost, allegory metaphorically, when I do that, and then I'm looking at, my bank account, and I'm like, well, that's not reflecting that. That's not reflecting the amount of detail that you're putting into your podcast, your videos, your content, your first and foremost, what I am inputting into my clients and into my life in regards to, personal training, right? And you know what? I was pausing because, as you can hear, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. That's the heat. That's the heat kicking on, right? So it's going to sound funky in the microphone. The microphone's going to pick that up. And so be it. It's kind of cold right now, and I don't feel like going upstairs to turn the heat off. So you're just going to hear, raw and uncut. I'm trying to really do this podcast in a one take situation, right? And that goes again to, trying to make things too perfect, too right. Making sure my production is right, making sure this is right, trying to make stuff is right. And then you look back and you look at your stats and it's like, that's not reflecting the amount of time I'm putting in. And these are all, let's say, auxiliary items that are when it comes to far as personal training, right? I'm talking YouTube, I'm talking merch, I'm talking podcasts, but overall, you can't hate what made you rich. You can't go away from your main and get some strange. So personal training, it's like one-on-one personal training. I've done group training. Don't care for that too much because I can't be as personal. And I realize people need help when it comes to actually one-on-one attention. And I'm trying to not make this a sob story, but this is just what it is. I don't talk too much about it. Maybe once every 4, maybe 6 months, I let you all in to being, part of my tribe. And since you have been listening to me for a while, this is podcast number 230 something, somewhere around there. Again, 230 something odd episodes, right? And you're just thinking that things would be better because I know that personal training 101 people, there's only so much time in a day, and you're dealing with a certain group of people who have the finances to be able to hire a personal trainer consistently, right? Month in and, month out, right? And I'm always looking for additional clients, right? Not so much new clients like, let me get rid of the current ones I have. I have people that I've been training for 7 years, and that is heartwarming. That is heartwarming, right? And I've seen them go through their ups and their downs. And when they're down, I'm there for them. And they've been there for me too in all of this, right? But with personal training, how much of this up and down am I going to go through to age 43? I'm 42 right now. And, I spent a couple of years trying to figure all this stuff out. It's like, okay, how is this going to connect? How is this going to connect? Well, maybe I need to do this. Okay, this month, we're not doing so good. And, acquiring clients. Okay, let me substitute. Let me do this. Let me do that. And you make these adjustments and you have to take time to see if those adjustments work, right? Once again, time. And you look, you're like, okay, that worked. You're like, okay. And then the thing that was working, now it's not working. Now you're back to square one. And it's like, okay, I'm not good enough. This is not good enough. You got to, retool. And that is a part of business. I do know that. But at what point in time can I just kick back and be like, okay, I got things rolling. This is successful. This is abundantly successful. Let me clarify. This is abundantly successful. And when it's not, the stresses of it not being that is very reflectful in multiple ways. Cash rules everything around me, Cream. I was raised off of Wu-Tang Clan, and that's always stuck with me, right? That's how the world revolves. And that is one of the ways how when things don't work, where it reflects at. And, you're trying to just make it, right? But I'm tired of trying to make it. I'm tired of trying to make it in regards to, personal training. So therefore, I started to ask that question of, is this for me anymore? And this is why my views on personal training, has changed. I like to work out, and I think I like it to a point to where I can say I love it. And the reason why I'm hesitant on that, because it's just something that I do, right? There are ups and downs in that. I get that. There's some mornings where I don't want to work out in the morning. I've been blessed to have a home gym. I'm blessed to have a home that is big enough to have a home gym. I'm blessed. And maybe I am spoiled. Maybe the access to excess can get to me or has gotten to me. I get that. But that goes into everybody's fitness journey. That goes into everybody's. But one thing, let me be very careful because I have a doctor's appointment here soon in a couple of weeks, is that to try to convince me to take care of myself, I don't believe I've ever had a problem with. Recently. I understand I can meet people at different points in their life. I get that. But I've always wanted to be stronger. The desire to be stronger, the desire to be better. Now the execution is different. The desire to be better. But one of the questions that I ask in my group, once again, is okay, get a Facebook group, ask people what their problems are. There are a lot of, I need motivation. And maybe that's a trigger for me because it's like, how is it that you need motivation to take care of yourself? Once again, it's how is it? I can kind of understand it, and different people come from different backgrounds. That's the joy in personal training, because you get to learn about people. You get to learn about where people come from, and, maybe people never had access to somebody that encouraged or implemented, let's say, health, right? What type of health, fitness and strength and everything like that. So I get it. Maybe I am privileged in that area. I'm totally open to that now that we cross that off the list. A part of personal training is sales, and I didn't realize that until I was maybe 6 or 8 months. No, I wouldn't even say 8 months. I'll say about a good 6 months into my first personal training gig, and I'm like, sales. I'm like, I don't like that. And so it's like, to convince people, sales in personal training, I have to convince somebody to take care of themselves. I have to convince somebody to be stronger, and I don't like that. I don't really care for that. And maybe because I have gotten older. I'm 42 now. Now, when I first started, 7 years ago, I was 34, 35, somewhere around there. So my mindset was, different. And now that, the veil has been uncovered, it's the reason why I'm doing this podcast right now. I understand I see different people have, quote unquote, alleged success. Call me a hater if you want to. All right. Now that you got that out your system, I'm just messing with you. You see online trainers or online frameworks or whatever. Hey, I made X amount of $1,000 a year and blah, blah, blah. You're like, well, if you've never seen this person, and how can you verify this person is who they are, and different things like that. And it's like, what? Maybe it's part of the game that I don't know. And I'm completely open to that. But one thing I never wanted to be in this game was a scammer. When I'm not to say that, well, that's my desire. You would hear these personal training horror stories from clients, whether it's other personal trainers, getting all touchy-feely, trying to have sex with other clients and different stuff like that. I believe that it's lame. That's just lame. It's personal trainers. That's just lame. It's just lame. If you use your platform or your services for that, you're just lame. It's just lame. This is really, 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 really lame. Lame. It's just lame. I never wanted to use mine for that because I didn't need to. I didn't need personal training to pick up women. Put it like that. I'm good on my own. I can do that on my own merit, right? But with personal training and sales and trying to acquire more clients, is this thing about convincing people, right? And I'm like, I understand, finances and different people. This is not what I'm honing in on people for. It's like, oh, you can't afford personal training. No, this is not it. Because I have plenty of free resources, as you can see with my over 1,100 videos, tutorials, workout tutorials. I have free guides. I have free ebooks. I have a lot of free things. The only thing I'm really asking people to pay for is merch and actually one-on-one personal training services. But what I see, what people say they struggle with, and then it's like you offer them a solution, and that solution, 90% of the time, what I'm offering them is free. When they don't take it, you start to question: is why are you even saying it? What are people talking about? What do they really want? And people do have a right to choose somebody else. Let me be very, 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 very clear. I do understand that. And so this is another reason why I'm here, because it's just a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot to try to unpack and try to figure out where do I go from here? Now that I have all this information, where do I go from here? Because I do love working out. I do like working out. I do like clients. I do love clients. And, seeing them get stronger, seeing the joys on their face, and, telling them to, okay, you can make this adjustment, because I've been there before too. I've been at this juncture, this fork in the road, on whether to go left, straight, or right. Who knows, but a decision has to be made. And that's what I feel right now. I can go left, I can go right, or I can put my head down and go straight forward. But either way, a decision has to be made nonetheless. But I just don't know about personal training anymore. That's one thing I don't know, and I wish I did, because it hurts me to not know. It hurts me to be unsure on if I want to do this anymore from a sustainable standpoint, a financially stable, a financial, standpoint. I have online training options open. Those haven't been, let's say, being taken advantage of more so or whatever. Let's just say this. Overall, sales are just down. And maybe everybody's feeling like this in regards to whatever business they're in, with inflation and the economy. And it's like, what do I do to survive going forward? Can I retire off of this? What else is it that I need to do? In the words of Tyrese, it's like, what more do you want from me? I want to thank you for tuning in to the Success Fitness Podcast, because this is the end. This is the end of personal training. This isn't the end of the Success Fitness Podcast. This is just the end of this episode, because we're going on about 30-something minutes. Looking at my Apple Watch, I am over 1,600 calories burned, and I've worked out for 103 minutes today. I'm feeling a lot better than what I did when I initially wrote down these jumbled thoughts, and I just had to get back to my routine, running in the morning again. I'm on day three of running, in the morning, 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. I started with 2 miles. My goal is to get 3. My goal is to get 3 miles in under 30 minutes, but I have to give myself time. I have to be patient. I have to be gracious, and I understand I can be tough on myself, but you have to be in life. I honestly believe that. I believe you have to challenge yourself, because life can be great. Life can hurt. And nothing lasts forever. And that's a double entendre. I did a podcast post or blog post about that, because you don't want to be a nothing your whole entire life, right? Because nothing can last forever. So just even good times and even bad times too. And that's one of the lessons that I learned back in 2008, when my mother passed, is that, the good times doesn't last forever. And now I'm 42, I'm understanding parts of my mortality. And it's like, you got to get yourself together. It's all this investment in the youth to build yourself so you can take care of yourself when you get older, right? When you get older. And that's what it's all about. It's all about investing. It's about investing in yourself, right? And just with that being said, I try to invest my knowledge of what I've acquired so far to you through this podcast, or through workout videos, or through just my services. But with that being said, since the weight of the world seemed like it's on my shoulders, and I'm still here, I didn't fall. Like that meme, I can't remember what that guy's name is. But did you die? Since the weight of the world seems like it's on my shoulders, and we understand that weight makes you stronger. That's the only way to get stronger in life. You have to add more weight. So when the weight of the world is on my shoulders, and if I don't feel stronger because I'm going through that, then I have to ask for more weight, more weight, more weight. Peace out.